James Fox says big things are coming in terms of UFO disclosure. We're going to get pictures, we're going to get videos, we're going to get all sorts of stuff, and it is coming in a very short window of time. We also have some really other UFO news to go over. Danny Sheehan is saying more hearings are going to happen and more witnesses are going to come forward. And, well, we've got some other really juicy stuff to go over today. So let's talk about it. Get in here. This is Jack with Guys McGrow. I talk about UFOs and the paranormal. Please hit like, please subscribe, share on social media, and let me know what you think in the comments below. Okay, first of all, let's go to James Fox saying big things are coming, and he is actually going to place a bet on this. So he is confident that over the next year, we are going to experience, I guess, what we're talking about is some sort of paradigm shifting disclosure event or information. I love it. Let's listen to what James has to say.
This is coming out. How do I know this? I've also went to Washington for almost 5 weeks just a couple months ago, and I met with a lot of the people that are working behind the scenes to get this out. They know that it's real, okay? It's just now it's a matter of how do we roll this out? How, and there is a lot of talking behind the scenes. I can assure you this is coming out, and you just wait. When some high-resolution satellite imagery leaks out, that will be happening. First-hand witnesses are going to come forward. That will be happening. They can't put the genie back in the bottle, man. This is coming out. This stuff's coming out. I've never said this before. I have never believed that I thought this was going to happen. I really didn't. It's coming out now, and there's no turning back.
Nah, I don't think so. I think in 1 year from now, they're going to be the exact same spot we were in 1 year ago.
Nope. No. I'll bet you $1,000.
If you want, I'll do it. Yeah. I'll give you. Yeah, we'll do it if you really want to. If you sanction this.
So there you go. James Fox was going to bet $1,000 with Destiny that we are going to have some major UFO disclosure events happening over the next year. What do you guys think? What is going to happen? What does he know? What does he think he knows? Is he right? Are we going to get, high definition satellite imagery, firsthand witnesses who I suppose are involved in these UFO recovery and reverse engineering projects? Or who are these witnesses going to be? Are they, people like Grusch who has worked with the satellite imagery? Is that who's going to come forward telling us what they know? Are they going to be protected by whistleblower protection laws, or how are we going to get this information? I'm so excited by this. I hate to get too excited. I've been excited before and had my hopes dashed. So we will see, but so many things are happening right now. Stuff is coming out. Congress is passing legislation. The White House is engaged on this. Seemingly sincerely, but we will see. Anyway, it is an amazing time. So I don't doubt James Fox in his information. However, there are opposing forces that don't want this coming out. And, they're not timid little mice. So we will see what happens, but I am optimistic. I am cautiously optimistic, and I'm not going to bet against James Fox. In other news, we have Chris Mellon, we have Ross Coulthart, we also have Leslie Kane, all talking about this one particular article from The Hill. Ross says UFOs are the story of the century. Wake up, America, which I think is the title of the article. Chris says, fully agree with the Admiral, who wrote the article. So let's just go to that article. And it has been suggested to me that I share these articles with you in a different browser and using a different feature so we don't have all these ads. And I think that's a great suggestion. So thank you so much for suggesting that. And I'm going to do that right now. And here we are going into the immersive viewer without all the ads. All right. Of course, you also don't get the pictures, but trade-off, right? Okay, so this is the big article that everybody is talking about. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but here we go. UFOs are the story of this century. Wake up, America. Last week, I had a front row seat at the hearing of the House Oversight and Accountability Committee's Subcommittee on National Security, the Border, and Foreign Affairs on U.A.P., also known as UFOs. The three witnesses provided extraordinary testimony on their observations of aerial craft with performance characteristics far beyond those of modern aircraft, as well as knowledge of a hidden U.S. government crash retrieval program of such vehicles and their non-human operators. Skipping a little bit, he says, "So how has our society responded?" To quote an assessment in Forbes, the internet shrugged. After some brief reporting by the major news networks, they returned their attention to nearly full-time coverage of the dismal legal landscapes surrounding the politicians. I don't even know if I can say their names without YouTube taking notice. Perhaps the era of fake news has desensitized the public to remarkable revelations like these, so I feel compelled to share my perspective to shed light on their validity and implications. As a retired U.S. Navy flag officer, I can attest to the integrity and authenticity of the two pilots who testified. I have served on 3 aircraft carriers and count many naval aviators as close friends. These 2 witnesses are the real deal. So is David Grusch. As a Navy information warfare officer, I work closely with the intelligence community and Grusch's former command, National Geospatial Intelligence Agency. I, too, have been read into special access programs, and I understand how Department of Defense classification systems and authorities work. His testimony is 100% credible. It may take time for society to come to grips with this historic hearing, but we will be best served by immediately responding as follows, and I'll just read the bullet points. The U.S. Congress should continue to demand the Department of Defense and intelligence community disclose UAP information, data, and materials to the public. Amen. We need that information, right? We deserve that information. We're paying these, guys. What right have they to withhold this information from us? I mean, this is not, light information. This is reality-shattering information. The U.S. government should show leadership in international scientific studies of UAP. Well, they are behind the scenes, but yeah, I take his point. Absolutely. We have NASA out there. They've got their second committee now looking at UFOs, but that's not a sincere effort. So he's absolutely right. We need sincere efforts. Avi Loeb, for example, to lead, to spearhead the scientific study of UFOs. Of course, Avi is looking at it from a very, conventional scientific point of view, but hey, it's a starting point. But yeah, we definitely need more engagement. Yeah, it goes on. The U.S. research community should significantly expand the study of UAP, indeed. And here is his final point. Our tiny planet orbits a relatively medium-sized star in a galaxy of over 100 billion stars, among a distribution of several hundred billion galaxies in the observable universe. How arrogant to believe we are the only species that has developed a means for travel between celestial bodies. So there you go. This is the article that everybody's talking about. He's got some amazing points and some amazing recommendations for where we go into the future. Speaking of David Grusch, Ross Coulthart has some really interesting new information about why he believes so strongly in David Grusch, why he never thought David was a PSYOP agent, and that what he's saying here really solidifies David as a legitimate actor and, being exactly who he seems to be. Now, I'm going to show this in a slightly weird way because, as you will see, if I just show it like this, my big head is going to cut off Ross Coulthart. He's there in the corner. So I'm going to play the audio of this while showing the visual of Ross on a different browser so you can actually see Ross. His lips won't be moving, but you'll be able to hear his words. Here goes.
Particularly people on the UFO U.A.P. social media circuit actually even bother to speculate about such a possibility that Dave is a PSYOP operation. To me, it's utterly implausible, but the reason why I think it's most implausible is because I don't mind telling you. I mean, privately, because of the research that I was doing for my book, I was led to a guy by the name of Nat Kovitz, who sadly has passed away, who was essentially the head of research and development for the US Navy, the chief geek for the US Navy. And I was very vague about this in my book, but Nat introduced me to a number of people. And those people, quite a while back, told me about Dave Grusch, about this guy making inquiries about the fact that there was a legacy program. And the people that I'm talking about are people who work in the legacy program, who are, in some cases, military, in some cases, scientists, who are aware, allegedly, of a crash retrieval reverse engineering program. So when I was introduced to David, I already felt very secure in the fact that he was who he said he was. And I also felt very secure about his motivations, because I know the caliber of the man, and I've been privileged. I mean, it's kind of weird.
So there you go. So if you have any friends that think David Grusch might be a PSYOP agent, play that section of Ross Coulthart's, speaking on the show Weaponized with Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp. A great episode. I encourage everybody to watch it, but I wanted to highlight this section of it because it is so important to our understanding of David Grusch. In other news, it brings me no pleasure to report that William Shatner is not a big fan of the David Grusch hearings. I guess he didn't hear Ross Coulthart speaking. So let's hear what Shat has to say.
Hill, what did you make of those hearings and the fact that UAPs, as they're now called, are being discussed by witnesses under oath in Congress?
It's just, in my mind, it's ridiculous. You mean some highly intelligent being goes 10,000 light years with advanced technology, arrives here and hides?
There you go. He goes on. He has some interesting theories, and I'll let you watch it. News Nation gave me a copyright claim a couple of days ago, so I'm reluctant to play too many of their videos. But yeah, so Shat is not a fan or a supporter or a believer in the David Grusch information. But I know people in real life that feel the same way. It's all hearsay, that kind of thing. That's the argument you get. And, these are people that have not studied this in any detail. So I can only assume that William Shatner falls into that category where he has seen this on the news, he's seen it reported, but he has not investigated it into any depth, and he, probably doesn't feel comfortable investigating it into any depth. A lot of these people that are, deniers of this reality have these knee-jerk reactions. It's uncomfortable for them. They have cognitive dissonance, and they just can't allow themselves to go there. So they have this, almost immune reaction to this information, where they just filter it out to protect possibly their own sanity. And I get that. I honestly do. I even sympathize with it. But I can only encourage people like William Shatner and my friends to actually do a little research. Or if you're like me, way too much research. Okay, and here we have another UFO video. I almost hate to show UFO videos because there's so many fakes. The one I showed the other day seems to be from a video game, and that actually makes perfect sense because it makes sense for them to create that footage for profit, right? I try not to share UFO videos unless they're getting a lot of attention or unless the provenance of the video is very strong. In this case, the provenance of the video is from a regular person who seems to be just a regular everyday person. And this video is getting a lot of play. I've seen it talked about on the national news. I've it's got this article about it. It's all over Twitter. So it's worth taking a look at. Here's the article. It says a video of a mysterious disc-shaped UFO has over Mexico, Tamaulipas, Mexico, has led to increased global fears of a possible invasion, the Sun reports. Yeah, that's right. This is coming from the Sun. Unusual sighting. The eerily silent object surrounded by a halo was captured on video by TikTok user Marcela Guzman. The 17-second clip has gone viral with over 4.5 million views and almost 5,000 comments. Not that the number of views makes it any more legitimate, but let's take a listen.
Güey, no mames que se hizo el pinche U.F.O. Verga, güey. ¿Qué? Un pinche extraterrestre, güey. Es que ve cómo se está abriendo eso. Ay, no, ya me dio miedo, güey.
All right, now I've seen a lot of the black circle UFOs that people share, and a lot of those seem to be from rocket launches. They leave this weird smoke ring in the sky that drifts around and stays in shape for a while, and many people misidentify those as UFOs. Now, in this video, I was trying to see if that could be what's going on here. However, it's this luminous ball right here that makes me think that that is probably not what's going on. Smoke rings aren't luminous. So is this a circular UFO with some sort of power source or something that is making it light up there? I would think the power source would be in the core of the ship. So I'm not sure why there's a section there that would be brighter than the rest of it. But then again, I don't know how these things work. So, this is a good sighting, I think. I don't know if it's a legit non-human object or something else, but I think that the person that posted it is a real person and this was a real event. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I'll close off with some thoughts from Danny Sheehan, Lou Elizondo's lawyer and of course a well-known figure in the UFO community. This gentleman was at an impromptu panel at the Galileo Project on the recent UFO news. And there's some really prominent people there, including Gary Nolan, of course, Danny Sheehan, Rear Admiral Tim Gallaudet. I may be mispronouncing his name, but he's the one who wrote the article that I just read, former Navy pilot Ryan Graves, and of course, Avi Loeb. And Danny Sheehan was talking about the possibility of there being more panels. Of course, a lot more was said. Riz, who was there, says, for different reasons, they all said they generally thought David Grusch was telling the truth about crashed craft, ranging from unspecified certainty to 99.99% and even 100% certainty that what Grusch was saying is likely to be accurate. I would love to know who thought it was 99.99 and who thought it was 100%. That'd be interesting. Riz says he didn't take notes. Both Nolan and Graves had been pretty well quoted, so I'll concentrate on the other two. Sheehan said that we need to think about aliens, not just from a military perspective, but about what this means for the human family as a whole, because it has profound legal and governing and theological implications. And, I totally agree with that. Sheehan also said he told AOC and other representatives that they didn't need a skiff to talk to Grusch. That's interesting. They could just call him on his cell phone. This is really a constitutional issue because the national security state, thinking it is the government, but Congress is now trying to reassert that it is the legitimate government and oversees the national sex state. So, that's interesting. I don't know if that line of reasoning is going to protect him from his NDA violations, but Sheehan is the lawyer and I am not. Oh, here we go. Gallaudet, the admiral, said he was 99% certain that Grusch was telling the truth because he knows how the government works and everything that Grusch is saying, including the repercussions to him and the way Kirkpatrick was wording his responses and what Arrow wasn't saying about crash saucers tracks exactly with his knowledge of how the government works. All right. And at other times, I heard informally from attendees about research they had done, one with Blue Book's unreleased pics and files. All the panel members said that we need to end the secrecy to allow scientists access to whatever the government is hiding. What comes next? Sheehan was of the opinion that there will be Senate Intelligence Committee hearings with witnesses. It was interesting to note that most of the panel members had just come from Washington. So when he says the Senate Intelligence Committee hearings with witnesses, I have questions because, of course, the Senate Intelligence Committee has heard from David Grusch some time ago and has never talked about it. And people like Marco Rubio and Kirsten Gillibrand sit on that committee, and they have been fairly silent on the whole UFO issue. So are they suddenly going to go public with this stuff, with the public hearings and witnesses? I would love to see it. I'm really hoping that Marco and Kirsten Gillibrand are on the side of UFO disclosure. I really, really want that to be the case. We need strong allies in the Senate pushing this forward, and ideally we need some strong allies in the Intelligence Committee. At this point, I'll believe it when I see it, and Danny Sheehan does say a lot of things, so who knows, but at the same time, Danny Sheehan is a smart guy, and he has a lot of access and a lot of know-how. So when he says more hearings are coming with witnesses, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. And I do think there will be more hearings. I absolutely 100% think there will be more hearings. I think Tim Burchett and Luna and the people in the House Oversight Committee are going to push for more hearings. Burchett has been talking about having field hearings, which will be interesting, a more informal setting where more witnesses might be able to come forward in a more informal way. But one way or another, we're going to get hearings, and I love it. Bring it on. This is the era of UFO disclosure. So what do you guys think about all this? James Fox is placing a bet. We are going to have some massive UFO disclosure events happen within the next year. Danny Sheehan is talking about more hearings taking place, this time in the Senate Intelligence Committee, which I think is amazing. We've got a really intriguing UFO video, and we've got William Shatner denying the existence of UFOs here on Earth. Come on, he's Captain Kirk. Well, I guess he thinks he's going to be fighting aliens in space and they're not here. So, end of story, right? Also, we've got this guy with some groovy glasses. So let me know what you guys think about all of this in the comments below. And as always, if you've enjoyed this video, please give me a big thumbs up. Sure would appreciate it. Smash the subscribe button and the bell to be notified of future videos. You don't want to miss a thing. Join me on social media. There's Facebook and Twitter links below. If you wanted to support the channel in a bigger way, please consider becoming a channel member. Channel members are rock stars. I love you guys. There are plenty of other videos to check out on the channel, and I'll see you guys next time. This is Jack with Cosmic Road signing out.